Yo! Welcome back to One More Mana. My name's Derek, and today I am so excited for this week's deck tech. A lot of the decks we've done so far have been on theme, but very, magic centered, very kind of winning the game centered. Today's deck is a theme deck, and I don't know if you can tell by some of the stuff in the background or by the shirt I'm wearing, but today's deck is a Pokemon themed deck. And for today's deck, you're going to need to prepare for trouble and make it double, because our commander is Tibor and Lumia. Or, for the sake of this deck, Jesse and James, because this is specifically a Team Rocket themed deck. So Tibor and Lumia have a couple really cool abilities. The first one says whenever you cast a blue spell, you get to give target creature flying, or in other words, extend their reach to the stars above. Now that second ability is whenever you cast a red spell, you get to deal 1 damage to each creature without flying. So yes, this affects your creatures, but because of that first ability, you can give creatures flying, and because of all the flyers we're running in this deck, this is a really cool ability, especially when you look at the fact that you can pair it with Death Touch, or a lot of abilities that can turn your opponent's creatures into 1/1s, and this can turn into one-sided board wipes, and it just can be so awesome. But beyond just the commander, again, this is a Team Rocket themed deck. We need to be on theme. So, what does Team Rocket do? Besides lose, hopefully that's not too on theme with that. But what does Team Rocket do? They try to steal stuff, and they steal stuff. And that's what we're going to do a lot of in this deck. We're going to get things flying, do damage to opponent's creatures, steal their things, and have some fun. Looking at the creatures, there's 24. The first one I have to mention is Archetype of Imagination. And ignore the art. In reality, this is the Meowth of this deck. This is Tibor and Lumia's best friend. You really... it just does whatever you need it to do, because it gives all your creatures flying, and it stops your opponent's creatures from having flying, even if they're supposed to have it. So this immediately turns Tibor and Lumia's ability into a one-sided effect where only your opponent's creatures are taking damage, and your creatures, they're fine. They're all flying up in the sky. They don't have to worry about taking that damage. It's so good. And again, you're going to see some abilities that we pair with it later that can turn this just really into a one-sided sweep where you are benefiting so much and your opponents can just be left decimated. The next card I'm going to mention is Etali Primal Storm, which is an amazing card in general. This card is super powerful as a commander itself. I know it does some work, but also super on theme, which is amazing. Team Rocket always trying to steal stuff, but kind of, you never know what they're going to do. They're unpredictable. You never know what's going to work. Sometimes they're just going to whiff. In their case, maybe too much they're going to whiff. With Etali, hopefully we're not whiffing as much, because we get to flip the top card of everyone's deck when Etali attacks and cast any non-land cards from it. Etali is insane. A lot of times, if you're playing an Etali deck, you want to top deck manipulation, but again, we want to be on theme. We're going to gamble a little bit with it, see what we can steal from everybody else. At its worst, you exile a bunch of lands, but you're attacking with a 6/6. At its best, you can end up casting 4 just amazing spells off of 1 attack. The next card I'm going to mention is amazing. It's Niv-Mizzet Perun. Now, its mana cost can be kind of restrictive, basically for anything but an Izzet deck, but thankfully we're running an Izzet deck, so it works perfectly. Now, this spell can't be countered, and whenever you draw a card, it can ping any target. It can deal 1 damage to any target, and especially with a lot of the synergies we have with Tibor and Lumia, this is awesome because we already have some, Death Touch synergies and other stuff like that, and it just works right there with Niv-Mizzet. It just synergizes really well, and it kind of doubles that ability. But honestly, Niv-Mizzet might even be better because of this next effect that says whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery, you get to draw a card. So this kind of just piles up on each other, especially with some of the card draw effects we have in this deck that can kind of get out of control. You can be dealing massive amounts of damage, drawing all these cards, and it serves as not only a weapon, but a way to refuel at the same time. Also, quick aside, see Niv-Mizzet doing a little thing with his hands. Kind of looks like a cat. The Meowth connection might be a stretch, but I'm going with it anyway. Now, the last creature I want to talk about is the Locust God. Again, this is a super powerful commander just by itself. Not only does it let you create a bunch of tokens, but it synergizes so well with all the card draw we already have. Having cards like a Windreader Sphinx, or some of the other cards like a Coastal Piracy that I'll get to later, you can draw insane amounts of cards with all the flyers we have. And I mentioned before, you get a ton of Niv-Mizzet triggers. You can also get a ton of Locust God triggers. And the best part is all these 1/1s stick around because they're flyers, and Tibor and Lumia won't kill them. So you can just end up with an army of these flyers. And if anybody's played against the Locust God, they know this can get out of control so fast. Moving to the sorceries, we have 13. The first one I want to talk about is Curse of Swine. This card is really powerful in most decks, but even better in this one. So it's 2 blue and X, and essentially you just, for whatever X you pay, you can exile X target creatures. But normally the downside is the opponent gets 2/2s. Now, 2/2s aren't great, so it's already a super powerful card, but even better in this deck, because one, those 2/2s don't fly, and two, with our commander, that means casting 2 red spells to just wipe the board clean. So this turns into exile a whole bunch of your opponent's creatures and then kill everything that replaced them. The reason this is even better than a normal board wipe is because it does get around all those indestructible effects. And if your opponent's running maybe an Eldrazi or a Blightsteel, exile effects are kind of useful, especially when you know the whole pinging thing is not going to do anything if it's indestructible. The next card I'm going to mention is a card that I really feel like is super underplayed, but it's really powerful, and that's Disrupt Decorum. This one is super cool. Also, I do love the flavor of it in this deck because, if anything, Team Rocket is an instigator. They don't always seem effective, they don't seem like they have a great plan, but they do seem to instigate trouble no matter where they go, and that's essentially exactly what this card is. It's trying to instigate some trouble, it's trying to start some fights between the other players at the table because it just goads all creatures you don't control, meaning everyone else's creatures have to go attack somebody other than you. Forget the practical effects this has of just all your opponents getting swung at by all your opponent's other creatures, but if you play it right, this could have insane political effects too because, oh yeah, you're the one who cast it, but they might be more mad at the person that just swung at them with their Blightsteel or their Ulamog than the one who actually told them to attack, because you didn't tell them who to attack, you just said attack an opponent. And if you play that the right way, you can kind of get off free and cause a whole bunch of damage with this card. The last one I want to mention is just perfectly on theme, and it's Dream Cache. Now, it's also a pretty good card. It lets you draw 3 cards and then put any 2 cards from your hand either on top of your library or on the bottom. This just immediately accounts for good card selection, and that's 3 draw triggers for a couple of creatures that I just mentioned before that I would love to see those draw triggers. But even better, that's exactly what Team Rocket's doing. They're always dreaming about that big prize they're going to get, that big Pokemon they're going to steal, but they never quite get it. And in the card art, you see the dude just sleeping there, dreaming about all the riches he's going to have, and I feel like Team Rocket can definitely relate to that dreaming part. Maybe not so much on the benefiting that we do get from the actual card, though. Looking at the artifacts, there are 8. To me, the 2 most important by far are Basilisk Collar and Gorgon Flail. These have just tremendous practical benefits in this deck. Again, our commander is essentially a mass pinger, because it's going to just deal damage, 1 damage specifically, to all the creatures on board whenever you cast a red spell, and to give your commander Death Touch. Literally, that's a board wipe. When you cast a red spell, unless they have indestructible, that's a board wipe. And if we have all those flyers, and they're not getting dealt that 1 damage, and we can make that one-sided, it's just insane just to keep all your opponent's creatures off board. It can get scary, and your opponents might just be afraid to play out creatures. So these 2 cards are just perfect in this deck, and they actually combo super well with another artifact I'm about to mention as well. The last artifact I'm going to talk about is Sight of the Wretched. With these Death Touch cards, just if you get them both on your commander or on Niv Mizzet, it's going to get out of control so fast. Because what this says is whenever the equipped creature deals damage to a creature that dies this turn, you get to take control of that creature. That board wipe I just talked about, where your commander's just blowing everything up, all of a sudden, you get all of it. You're stealing all those creatures. Everything you just took is yours now. And with all the effects that we have to give those creatures flying, you can steal them, give them flying, and then not have to worry about killing them again when you trigger your commander. It can get out of control so fast, and you can basically just take over the game if you're just stealing all your opponent's creatures. Taking a look at the enchantments, there's 6. 2 that I really do want to mention. One is Coastal Piracy. We have so many flyers that we're going to be getting in for damage a lot. And even if you're just poking somebody, again, even if it's with a little locust, every time you deal damage with one of your creatures, you get to draw a card. Now, it's specifically combat damage to an opponent, so the pinging and everything won't trigger it. But, again, we have all these flyers. It's per creature. You're swinging in with a whole bunch of creatures in the air, you're refilling your hand all the way, and getting ready to steal more stuff. Speaking of stealing stuff, last card I have to mention is Mind's Dilation. This card shouldn't be a surprise to anyone once I mentioned casting other people's cards. It is just a super powerful, really big, fun spell. And whenever any of your opponents cast their first spell on any turn, you just exile the top card of their library, and if it's a non-land card, you cast it. This is the ultimate form of stealing your opponent's things. I mentioned the Tally before. this is just basically a stronger version because it's every time the first spell they cast. So on each turn, so if your opponents are casting instants, they're going to keep triggering it, and it's actually going to make your opponents kind of hesitant to maybe be casting those instants on other people's turns because they don't want to just start giving you their stuff. I mean, they'll gladly take it, but yeah, they don't want to give it. And in any type of thievery deck, in any type of deck where you're trying to take your opponent's stuff, you want to play this card if it's in the colors that you're playing because, whoo, it's scary. People try to take it out fast, and if not, it could get completely out of control. Looking at the instance, there's 11. There's a few that I really do need to mention, and a couple that have a similar effect to a card we mentioned before, and the first is Ovenize. This lets you make target creature a 0/1. And with our commander and some of the other pinging effects we have, this essentially reads kill target creature if you're going to cast a red spell, because once you make something a 0/1, it's completely in death range of any of the pingers, and especially our commander. This card is awesome because it causes the creature to lose all abilities. So any problematic things that are hampering your game plan, it gets rid of that. And it is, again, 1 toughness. It only takes 1 trigger of your commander to take it out because it's losing abilities. It won't have flying. And even if they get a big flyer, something scary, this takes care of it. Now this next card basically takes the last one we talked about, pumps it up a little bit, and it's called Polymorphous Jest. Now, this card is crazy. You basically turn all creatures that a target opponent controls into 1/1 little frog with no abilities. It is essentially just a target player board gets wiped. And the cool thing is, with our commander though, that your commander's still going to be dealing damage to everything else. So you're not just wiping one player, but if one player has a lot of flyers, or if one player has a lot of indestructible creatures, or if one player has a lot of problematic things, you can specifically target them and then use your commander's effect to cause a mass wipe, and maybe only a couple creatures will be left, and you can kind of effectively target the biggest threat and make sure you take out as much as you can while still leaving yourself with a lot of fuel to take everybody out. Looking at the lands, there's 37, pretty simple mana base, but there is one that I do really want to point out, and that's Soaring Seacliff. When it enters the battlefield, you get to give a target creature flying until end of turn. And again, with our commander, this is amazing because there are going to be times, hopefully more often than not, where our commander is going to have Death Touch. And if we cast a red spell and just wipe the board, it would be great to be able to say, we have this really valuable creature, well, let's give it flying so it doesn't die. Now, I also realize, you may be kind of thinking that we have so many flyers, why are we concerned with giving our creatures flying? Again, this deck is focused on stealing stuff. So when we steal big, scary creatures from opponents, we need to be able to keep that stuff on board. So giving our stuff flying, even if most of our creatures already have flying, is crucial because some of the creatures we have aren't going to be ours. Now, maybe I can unite all peoples within our nation with this next category, because hopefully it is all of our favorite categories. Hopefully we all love it, and that is how to win the game. It is the game-winning step. Okay, so this deck, I guess if you really wanted to be completely on theme and super flavorful, you just make it so you couldn't win, considering Team Rocket basically never wins. But we kind of went a little off to the side, kind of went off and did our own thing, because we couldn't be that on theme. We want to make the deck have a possibility to win, and we want to have a little fun on our own, not just everybody else having a good time kicking our butts. So there are some ways to win the game, and the first one is literally use our flyers. We have so many flyers and actually so many ways to take away flying from our opponent's creatures that we should be able to swing in with big stuff and be face. So the next way to win the game shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who loves to play red, and it's Insurrection. Not only is it just an insanely powerful card, it allows you to steal everyone's creatures, take control of them, untap them, give them haste. Essentially, you want to just take everybody's creatures, swing away, and hope to be able to finish the game off. But kind of what I love about it in this deck is it serves just as a worst case scenario. If our deck's working and we're stealing people's stuff and using Tibor and Lumia to constantly basically wipe the board of your opponent's creatures while keeping all our flyers, this won't even be necessary. But there might be times where that's not working, and if your opponents are able to build up an army, this is a great way to just steal that army and just use it straight against them. Again, not only is it powerful, but it's super on theme of us stealing their stuff. It's kind of fun too. Now the last way to win the game is kind of unorthodox, especially for a deck like this, kind of out there, but I love it anyway, and it is with Hellkite Tyrant. Now, Hellkite Tyrant basically says when you deal combat damage with it, you get to just steal all that player's artifacts. So look, already on theme. We're stealing all their stuff. Where it really gets cool is at your upkeep, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 20 more artifacts, you just win the game. Obviously, if your opponent isn't specifically playing an artifact deck, you're probably not going to get 20 artifacts just from one trigger, but we have some cards to supplement this. We have a card like Brass's Bounty that can make a whole bunch of treasures. We have another card, again, I've mentioned it before, love this card so much, and it's Spell Swindle, which can get us even more treasures. And I actually think there may be a couple more treasure cards in the deck, but these two specifically can create lots of treasures, which count as artifacts. Especially with a card like Spell Swindle that's at instant speed. If you can, play Brass's Bounty, have some treasures out, maybe get a couple triggers with Hellkite Tyrant, even just one, and you can get close to that 20 range, sneak in a Spell Swindle, target an opponent that goes right before you do, counter one of their spells, it might be the way to sneak a win in. Definitely not the most reliable, but if you're able to pull it off, it is a lot of fun. And that's going to do it for this week's deck tech. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really do love kind of gimmicky theme, kind of on flavor decks like this. They're super fun to just, it kind of takes away the serious, and sometimes you can get really competitive, kind of takes that away from it a little bit, and lets you have fun and incorporate other things you love, like Pokemon, into other things you love, like Magic. So I super enjoy kind of this collaborative effort of two just things that I really do enjoy. I would love to hear about some of the decks you guys have, whether it's not through Pokemon, with any type of themed decks. I would absolutely love to hear them. If you have deck lists or anything, mention in the comments, tell me about it. That type of stuff does get me really excited. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.